Carlos Brand and the Fire's Bat by Johan Moreno. Once upon a time, there was a Delphi boy called Carlos Brand. He was on the way to see his mom, Louisa Brand, when he decided to take a short cut through the magic cave. It wasn't long before Carlos got lost. He looked around, but all he could see were trees. Nervously he fell into his bag for his favorite toy, cards. But cards was nowhere to be found. Cards began to panic. He felt sure he had fake cards. To make matters worse, he was starting to feel hungry. Unexpectedly, he saw a fire's bat dressed in a red waistcoat disappearing into the trees. How odd, thought Carlos. For, for the want of anything better to do, he decided to follow the peculiarly dressed bat. Perhaps it could tell him the way out of the forest. Eventually, Carlos reached a clearing. In the clearing were two houses, one made from onions and one made from cupcakes. Carlos could feel his tummy rumbling. Looking at the houses did nothing to ease his hunger. "Hello," he called. "Is anybody there?" Nobody replied. Cards looked at the roof on the closest house and wondered if it would be rude to eat somebody else chiming. Obviously, it would be impolite to eat a whole house, but perhaps it would be considered as a table to nibble the odd feature or link the odd feeling in a time of need. A cackle broke through the air, giving cars a fright. A witch jumped into the space in front of houses. She was carrying a cage. In the cage were cars. "Cards?" shouted Carlos. He turned to the witch. "That is my toy." The witch just struggled. "Give Carlos back," cried Carlos. "Not on your Nelly," said the witch. "And let's let Carlos out of that cage." Before she could reply, the first bat in the red waistcoat rushed in the front of footpath on the other side of the clearing. "Hello, Big Bat," said the witch. "Good morning." The bat noticed Cards. "Who is this?" "That's Cards," explained the witch. "Oh, Cards will look lovely in my house. Give it to me," demanded the bat. The witch shook her head. "Cards is staying with me." Excuse me," Card interrupted. "Card lives with me, and not in a cage." Big Bag ignored him. "Is there nothing you will trade?" he asked the witch. The witch thought for a moment, then said, "I'd like to be entertained. I'll release him to anybody who can eat a whole front door." Big Bag looked at the house made from cupcakes and said, "No problem, I could eat an entire house made from cupcakes if I want to." "There's no need to show off," said the witch. "Just eat one from there and I'll let you have cards." Cards watched, feeling very worried. He didn't want the witch to give cards to Big Bad. He didn't think Carlos would like living with a farm's bat, away from his house and all his other toys. Big Bat put on his peep and withdrew a knife and fork from his pocket. "I'll eat this whole house," said Big Bag. "Just watch." Big Bag pulled off a corner of the front door of the house made from cupcakes. He gulped down smiling and went back for more and more and more. Eventually Big Bad started to get bigger, just a little bit bigger at first, but after a few more forkfuls of cupcakes, he grew to the size of large snowballs, and he was very big as around. I don't feel too good, said Big Bad. Suddenly he started to roll. He'd grown so wrong that he could no longer balance. Help! He cried as he rolled out, down, and slowed into the forest. Big Bad never finished eating the front door made from cupcakes, and Carl remained, trapped in the witch cage. "That's it," said the witch. "I win. I get to keep cards." "Not so fast," said Carlos. "There is still one front door to go. The front door of the house made from onions, and I haven't had a turn yet." "I don't have to give you a turn," laughed the witch. "My game, my rules." The woodcutter's voice carried through the forest. "I think you should give him a change. It is only fair." "Fine," said the witch, "but show, you saw what happened to the bat. He won't last long." "I'll be right back," said Carlos. "What?" said the witch. "Where's your sense of impatience? I thought you want cards back." Carlos, ignoring the witch, and gave a hefty pile of sticks. He came back to the clearing and started a small campfire. Carefully he broke off a piece of the door of the house made from onions and toasted it over the fire. Once it had cooked and cooled just a little, he took a bite. He quickly devoured the whole piece. Carlos sat down on a nearby log. "You're failed," cawed the witch. "You were supposed to eat the whole door." "I haven't finished," explained Carlos. "I'm just waiting for my food to go down." When Carl's food had digested, he broke out another piece of the door made from onions. Once more he tossed his food over the fire and waited for it to cool just a little. He ate it and Elizabeth placed the wait for it to digest. Eventually, after several incidents, Carl goes down to the final piece of the door made from onions. Carefully, he tosses it and allows it to cool just a little. He finds its final corals. Carl had eaten the entire front door of the house made from onions. The witch stamped her foot angrily. "You must have tricked me," she said. "I don't reward cheating." "I don't think so," said the voice. "I was the woodcutter." He walked back into the clearing, carrying his axe. This little boy won fair and square. "Now hand over cards or we'll chop your bronze stick in half." The witch looked horrified. She grabbed her broomstick and placed it behind her. Then, huffing, she opened the door of the cage. Carl hurried over the grave cards, checking that his favorite toy was all right. Fortunately, Carl was unharmed. Carl thanked the woodcutter, grabbed a kid souvenir, and hurried on to meet Louisa. It was starting to get dark. When Carlos got to Louisa's house, his mom threw her arms around him. "I was worried," cried Lisa. "You are very late." As Carl described his day, he could tell that Louisa didn't believe him. So he grabbed a napkin from his pocket. "What is that?" asked Louisa. "Carl's engraved a drug note made from cupcakes. Pudding," he said. Louisa almost fell off her chair. The end. Thank you so much and God bless you.